Oh, that was basically about what I had. I just thought I'd, mention what I thought about the steel and the steam, because if they haven't melted through completely and the rods do melt through, I would think that we would expect to see another explosion.
Well, that's what, no, actually, that's in Reuters, the major government announcements out of there. They're saying they expect another explosion. They've been saying that since this morning. In fact, guys, you're tracking the reactors in live time for me, right? Because I can't do it. Just keep putting it in. Let me know. Best place to follow it's Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com. Aaron Dykes is back there updating Infowars.com around the clock. Drudge Report's also on it 24/7. We're getting, but we'll know if there's another explosion. But I don't think there probably will be, because it looked like it already happened. They admit it melted down. The question is, they're not saying if it went totally critical. And it turns out they knew it started melting down Friday. Okay? Juan in New York, you're on the air. Welcome.
Yes, Alex, mi amigo. I call you mi amigo, a true friend of God and mankind. I thank you for what you're doing here, waking people up. I've been a listener for a couple of years now, and I just thank God for you. We're praying for you and your family, and the United States, the National Day of Prayer is coming up. I pray to God that you continue on your journey, waking up people as much as you can. I did work for the government, removing depleted uranium. The government is nothing but a bunch of liars and deception. And I hope America wakes up and understand what you've been telling them, to wake up and understand that we have to take matters into our own hands and wake up as many people as possible. I did work for the Department of Energy and the Army Corps Engineer. We cleaned up a plant over here that they used depleted uranium, and it went on for 15 years. It was supposed to take 3 years to clean this place up in Albany, New York, right here at the DOE. It was called the plant was what they built depleted uranium. A lot of people died in the area. I went to a couple of news conferences, and they didn't want me to talk, and you know how this goes. They don't want people knowing the truth. But we're going to continue praying for you and your family. I have a federal hazmat license, and the way there's more at the plant, but they decided to bury it. I mean, it's just, it's not the proper thing to use as far as energy. My advice to the United States of America, I'm going to wake up as many people on that coast, it's to have your car full of gasoline and head south if you have to, and just get out of the zone, with the fallout zone. So,
do you agree, from working for the Department of Energy that's over all the different nuclear programs, that they will probably lie and not tell people about how severe the fallout's going to be?
Of course, Alex. This is what they're about. They are nothing but deception. And, they are, Jesus said that the enemy is the father of all lies, Satan, and that's who they work for. All
right, thank you, Juan. So Juan agrees they're going to lie. Well, Joseph Lieberman, the outgoing senator, is somebody who's attacked the Second Amendment. He's attacked free speech, openly said get rid of freedom on the internet, restrict freedom on talk radio. So I disagree with almost everything he says. And so it really makes me question and wonder what's going on when I read something like this. Put the brakes on nuclear power plants, Lieberman says. The problem is he doesn't want us to have coal power plants either. He doesn't want us to have anything. If we had a choice between coal and nuclear, I'm for coal. And if we don't build nuclear power plants on fault lines in Japan, who has 9.1 earthquakes, I mean, yeah, there shouldn't be nuclear power plants in California like there are. Why is anyone building them on fault lines? Well, what's Japan supposed to do? They don't have the power. They don't have oil. They don't have their own coal. We do. We do. And I'm not for completely shutting down the nuclear energy. But wind power doesn't work. You can't control it. You've got to have a continual source. All right, I said to go to your calls. Here are some of the headlines right now. Japan battles nuclear meltdown. Biggest crisis since World War II. Races to avert multiple reactor failures. Yes, 6 of them. Injecting seawater at Fukushima facility. Another hydrogen explosion possible at same facility. Evacuation zones widened again. In fact, we're going to open that article up and give you the numbers. First it was 10 miles, then 20, then... Nuke designer says government suppressing info. claim fallout no threat to other nations. We're going to continue to cover it. West Coast in path of fallout. Ooh, print me that latest one there. I've been waiting for that to hit mainstream media. In fact, click on that for me right now. U.S. West Coast in fallout. It's finally being reported on. I mean, I can look at the jet streams. I told you that Friday and Saturday in the articles that we wrote for Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. While we're waiting for that to load, let's go ahead and talk to Jose in Hawaii. Hawaii actually got hit by some of the tsunami, but luckily it didn't cause too much damage Friday. Jose, welcome. Oh, no, Josh. We already talked to Jose and Juan. Josh in Hawaii, you're on the air.
Hey, how's it, Alex? It's a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for what you do, your crew there. And thank you for also waking me up. And I want to just say a quick thing to all the other listeners out there. If you are just listening to this information and not doing anything about it, and I'm not talking about just this crisis, but everything that comes out through these channels, and you are not doing anything, then you're wrong. Because it's one person to another person to another person. And just like you said, Alex, taking steps to go out and help other people, inform them, simple little things, really start to make a difference. So thank you for inspiring me and helping my my comrades to do the same.
Well, listen, we're all in this together, Josh. What was it like? Did you experience, are you near the coast? Did you see the reported 5-foot wave that came in and messed up a few houses and tore up some beachfront property on Friday when some of the tsunami hit you in the Pacific?
Yeah, it was pretty trippy, and that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about. Fortunately, obviously, you know, the worst was not had, but I was actually in class, and they went ahead and said, hey, we got to evacuate, there's a tsunami warning, and just as a lesson for everybody, you know, I live like a mile away. My class is downtown, it's you know, near the water, and I live like a mile away, so just driving back that little distance, there were like traffic jams up and down the streets trying to get gasoline. My neighbors everyone's out in the streets like, you know, panicking, rushing out to get water. The shelves are empty, car wrecks, all sorts of stuff. And that was like in one little mile journey back home. So please, everyone, you know, let this be a lesson. It sure was a really good wake-up call. You know, again, please, you know, take action now. You don't want to be waiting before it's too late. I mean, it's already a little too late in this one as far as some of those things go. I was able to go out and get some kelp. All the potassium iodide was sold out, but I got some kelp, and I think that'll be, you know, good. But yeah, it's been a little crazy, but obviously nothing like what Japan has had. But if I could just say one more thing, Alex.
Sure, and then I got to jump because I got to get to everybody, Josh.
Okay, thanks very much. Last thing, people, please take. I cannot believe the mainstream media. The first, I could not find an article. The building had exploded, and they're like, well, yeah, don't worry, it blew up, but the steel box around it is fine. And I could not find one article that just did the common sense question of asking, now wait a second, if the pressure came from inside the reactor, how did the outside blow up, but the inside is still fine? So just another thing to discredit it. Please keep up all the great work you're doing. Thank you so much, Alex, and we'll keep fighting.
All right, thank you so much, Josh. Yeah, at first they were like, the building collapsed, but it didn't hurt the reactor itself. The containment building collapsed. No, it didn't collapse. Pieces of it shot over 1,000 feet in the air, and it completely blew up. But they're like, don't worry, the reactor inside is just fine. And I'm like, no, massive meltdown, massive meltdown. And now they admit meltdown. I've studied nuclear reactors, okay? I've interviewed nuclear physicists repeatedly. I've interviewed nuke designers. You know why? Because if I'm going to live in a city with 2 nuclear reactors in it, by the way, both experimental, those are the most dangerous type because they're in there turning them on and off, manipulating them, doing tests. That's most of the danger is when they're turning these things on and off. If they're going to have 2 reactors in Austin, I'm going to research it. And the average, every time idiots call me and say there's no reactors, because they don't want you knowing, okay? The J.J. Pickle Research Facility, okay? I'm done talking about it. The point is, of course it's a meltdown. Of course now 6 are about to melt down. All 6 are probably going to melt down at Fukushima. You think one of them blows up sky high? It's been hit by a tidal wave, a tsunami. It's been hit by a 9.1 earthquake. Now one of the facilities is blown up. Looks like a 50,000-pound bomb airstrike couldn't do that. I mean, a giant facility, boom! Pieces of it flying thousands of feet in the air. What do you think's going to happen to the rest of the facility? When the power gets turned off to those things, those things were at full capacity operating when the earthquake originally hit. They're covering up what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. It's going from bad to worse. I'm just going to be, prepare for the worst, folks. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, because it looks like the worst is happening. Look at Japan. Look at Japan. They're now reporting reactors all over the country are going haywire. All right, now I'm ranting. I'm sorry. It's starting to get to me here. David in Illinois, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hello, sir. First-time caller. It's an honor to talk to you.
Welcome.
I just had a comment and a question. I just wanted to let everybody know that FEMA is conducting its largest exercise in May. It's called National Level Exercise 2011.
It's absolutely, and it's in the Madrid fault line up in the corner of Arkansas and Kansas. And they even ordered extra body bags and emergency preparedness for a big earthquake. But I certainly hope it doesn't happen.
Right. I live in one of the counties that's going to participate in Illinois.
Well, for those that don't know about it, tell us about it.
It's just, yeah, it's on, I think, May 16th through the 20th, and it's a Congress-mandated exercise that we're going to have all local police and just everybody, participating in it. And it's, I don't know, when I first learned about it, it kind of freaked me out.
Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Obviously, my phones have blown off the wall. We're not on air. The comment line is ringing nonstop. I'm getting hundreds of emails a day that I see, comments all over Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com saying, Alex, why aren't you talking about the fact that HAARP could have done this? Yes, the U.S. government's looked into earthquake weapons. Yes, HAARP is involved. I've interviewed the director of HAARP on air. Yes, they can create earthquakes. That's even in Haaretz. The Israelis have studied putting nukes down mine shafts to create them. In the 50s, the U.S. government looked at it. That's mainstream news. But the sun and the moon manipulate our tides and our magnetic field. Japan's always had real earthquakes. They just didn't have nuclear reactors there, 500 years ago when they were having, giant earthquakes. So this stuff happens. And so I just can't say it's the government because even though Secretary of Defense Cohen, and when we come back, Secretary of Defense Cohen warned of earthquake weapons. This was in April 28th, 1997, Army Times. And he said, yes, our government and other governments have tectonic earthquake weapons. So we have to look at that. But Mother Nature's got her weapons, too. And believe me, they're bigger than the globalist.